when we talked about codominance and we took into consideration the example of human blood group, we said that in a population we are going to find 4 different types of blood groups. Alright, and for that we had talked about I gene, and I gene had 3 different alleles. Now remember, in an individual you are always going to find, without any exception, 2 alleles only. For a gene, there are going to be 2 alleles only in an individual. So how this condition of 3 individuals is going to be fulfilled? Now we had studied about codominance. We are going to talk about multiple alleles in this lesson from our understanding of codominance. Very simply, first thing you have to keep in mind that multiple alleles are studied in a population. You can't study multiple allelism or the factors which are under force, which are in action, if you are studying an individual. It is better to study population, and for that we have population genetics. The population genetics very well takes into its coverage the phenomena of multiple alleles, and these multiple alleles are for a given gene. Now do keep in mind, we have gene for giving us a character which is phenotypic, that is observable to the eye. Now this character is governed by a given gene. In a population, the character is going to remain common. One character would be governed by a given gene. But in a population of many individuals, this gene can have as many alleles it can have, okay, depending upon the number of individuals. So this given gene often has its alleles, and from the expression of these alleles, we have a particular character that is showing. Those alleles could be dominant or they could be recessive. This is what we have studied. Now supposedly in a population of many individuals, you find 2 dominant alleles. Recessive is going to be 1 only, do keep in mind, which would be recessive to both the dominants. Has it been 3 dominant alleles, then also the recessive would be 1, and supposedly you have gene X. So this is 1 allele, capital A, I would write. This is B, this is XC. There are many alleles which are found, but the character would be same. The variation would be there. Supposedly all these genes are, this gene is particularly responsible for the character of a voice, supposedly. Now all these A, B, C, D and the small x, supposedly these alleles are going to contribute in the characterization of that particular character which we are talking, but the gene is having as many alleles as we have seen over here. This variation of alleles, number of alleles, instead of 2 you are getting more alleles, that would be seen only in a population but not in a single individual. Single individual can take up any of these to make a pair and have that probability and get that particular genotype. It could vary. There are 5, there are numerous probabilities. It could be like this. The individual could be like this, XB, XO. So you see that within an individual there would be 2 alleles. But if the population is to be considered, a gene can have many alleles, and that particular phenomena is observed in nature and is known as multiple allelism. These alleles for a given gene, if they are more than 2, then those are known as multiple alleles. And the simplest example that we have is ABO blood grouping, where I gene responsible for giving those blood groups has 3 different alleles present. So this is about multiple allelism. I hope it is clear. We are done with most of the fundamentals of genetics. These are little bit variants, little amount of variation you see, and they are deviating a bit from Mendelian characters, but do keep in mind here also, if we have to make crosses and see what is happening, then again we have to depend on those fundamentals as given by Mendel only. There are little bit of deviations from what Mendel said, but till now it is only those Mendel's fundamentals and principles that are being studied when we have to study about human genetics and the pattern in which they are inherited. Okay, little bit anomalous these are, but yeah, they are in accordance with Mendel's theory only. So this is about multiple alleles.